Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is need and moving from want and need to desire and possibility. So before we get started, let's just dig in and get present, take a minute or two here, and then we'll get involved in this conversation because there's a transformational possibility available by a shift of our language. We can shift our experience around this notion of need, and it should be fun. Anyway, here we go. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it and imagine clear, crisp oxygen just flowing into your lungs and into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs. And now let's exhale and exhale any tension. Just relax, relax, relax. And now take a deep breath in through your nose. This time, imagine sparkling white light coursing into every molecule, connecting every molecule of your body and connecting you with the world beyond. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, just relax and soften and ease. And now let's just gently place our palms together and very, very, very softly rub your fingers against your palms and feel that tingling in your fingers and in your palms and how soft and delicious that can be. And let's bring yourselves present right here, right now. So, welcome. I'm so glad to be here with you this morning. And I want to talk about this notion of need because we've all talked about being, people that we know or maybe even ourselves feeling needy and needing this, that, or the other thing, or wanting this, that, or the other thing. And if we look at the words need and want, they are defining lack just by their very nature. So the word want means I don't have something, I am wanting. And need is an even more extreme version of that word where we feel a an essential need to have something in order to be complete or even to survive. And there are, of course, needs that we have to survive. And most often, most of us in this culture, particularly, have our fundamental needs met. And I'm talking about food and shelter and water. And there are people for sure who are living with a need for the fundamentals, and that's not what I'm addressing here, because we many of us, and I'm speaking from privilege here, many of us are profoundly privileged to have our survival needs met. And yet we talk about needing this or needing that or wanting this and wanting that. And I recognize that there is a tremendous opening that can occur when we redefine or recontextualize this notion of need as one of preference or desire. So when I shift my thinking from I need X amount of money to feel financially free, for instance. And this is the opposite extreme, obviously, from the fundamental needs for survival. But when I say I need such and then I'll be happy, it's really I desire or I prefer to have this or that in order to um, allow myself to experience something. And the point of this conversation is that when we shift from need and want to desire and preference, what comes into play is choice. That we actually open up the possibility of other alternatives. When we say I prefer or I desire, we get to look at something in a different context that that then shapes our experience, particularly when we are at choice about something. And so often when we get into the conversation around need and want, it feels like an absolute. It feels like something that I need or want in order to complete myself, something that I'm lacking, something that I'm missing, something that may complete me. And that underlying notion that this externality is going to complete or fulfill a part of ourselves is most often a misdirected notion or an inaccurate notion. So I'm wondering for you, as you speak to yourself, the words I need or I want versus even not just I prefer or I desire, but I choose. How different is the visceral experience of that for you? Because what's happening in that shift of language is a shift of experience that opens up this whole notion of choice, which opens up the experience of sovereignty and empowerment in your life. So through this simple shift of of moving from need to desire or preference, we get to experience our role in creating our experience. Instead of being at the effect of the experience, we get to create the experience. Does that resonate with you? I'm wondering if this makes any sense, if it's connecting for you in terms of something that you can relate to directly in your own life. So we set up conditions kind of reflexively in our lives where we say, I need this in order to do that. I am setting up this condition in order for that condition to exist. When we say instead, I prefer this condition, then it's no longer an absolute, and there's room to explore and invent new options and new freedom and a new sense of expansiveness in response to whatever that condition is or that circumstance. And so the point about this languaging and moving into choice is that that's the place where we have the freedom to create our lives. And I'd love it if you would start, if you would engage with me as far as what kinds of perceived needs you might have that that actually are preferences or actually are um, desires. rather than needs. And so when we make the distinction between want and desire, the difference is that desire is coming from a place of wholeness, where want by definition is coming from a place of lack. And when I think we're playing here with the frequency of our language, and the experience associated with the language, because the frequency of neediness or want is actually a repellent type of frequency. You know, as I'm grasping, I'm creating a resistance, and I'm affirming the lack of that thing, which is repelling it, which is pretty interesting. You know, you would think that by stating what you want, you're you're stating your desire, but when if we're in the experience of not having, then that's what we're emanating. That's what we are projecting into the world, is the experience of not having. And when we say desire, there's a deliciousness about that. There's an attractiveness that can pull that experience in, because you can feel the experience of having it, of relishing it in that delicious desire, versus a yearning or a clawing need or a grasping for. Because in that grasping, what we're affirming is our lack. And this may seem like a linguistic twist, and nothing more than that, but in fact it really is one of the keys to manifesting and to bringing forth our desires into reality, is by creating a resonance, that is a magnetism for those things, circumstances, opportunities, experiences that we desire. And I've spoken about this before, and it's not something that I in any way originated. What we understand about manifesting is that it's all about resonating at the frequency of the thing that you're desiring, whether it's experience or material or whatever. And so to move from this place of lack into the place of abundance is a subtle and yet profound shift. And I'm wondering if you've had an experience of how life can shift that way. Uh, I've I've done a lot of Joe Dispenza meditations, and there was one meditation where he asks the question, "What would it feel like to have all your needs met?" And I wonder, what would it feel like to have all your desires met? Because, in fact, when I look at it in terms of my absolute needs, when we think of need in terms of not having, my needs are met. All my needs are met. And when we look at most of us in our lives, the things that are not met that we consider needs are often in the realm of desire and preference. And so just just feeling into that, feeling into the recognition that your needs are met. And then all the rest of it is gravy or bonus or extra and delicious, and maybe it gives us a way to find greater appreciation and also gratitude for the fact that our needs are met and that the rest of it is desire that we then can choose about rather than be at the effect of. So I'm wondering about your experience of how that shifts for you when you start saying, oh well, I need to do this, I need to do that, even looking at, is it true that that's something that is a requirement in the doingness? Because it may be that the need to do these things is in fact a choice, and my guess is that that's actually more often the truth of it than not, that it's a choice, and when you get to recognize that choice, there's more freedom available to you. So need to, have to, um, in terms of doingness, there are choices available to us that we don't presence ourselves to, and when we do presence ourselves to our choice about something, then we connect more deeply with ourselves and our own sovereignty and our own creative power within the context of our lives. So I just invite you to play with this idea of want and need versus desire and preference and choice, and see if carrying that into your day, if it shifts your experience of the events that arise, or the circumstances, the occasions, the interactions that arise throughout your day, and um, the desires. Because when we, this is um, another kind of side effect, I think, is that when a need is met, maybe there's a little bit of a relief. When we say, I need this, I need that, oftentimes we don't even appreciate it when we receive that thing, for instance, because it just filled a hole, and it filled a temporary hole because it wasn't truly a need. When instead we say, I prefer or I desire, and then you receive that desire, there's more space for celebration. And because you're not coming from a place of lack, it's a place of abundance, and almost like a gift, so that you can celebrate the receiving of that gift and enjoy it more thoroughly. So anyway, that's the thought for the day, and I think I might wrap up with that. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and we go live daily on Facebook and the Enlightened World Network Facebook page, uh, weekday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I hope to have you join me again here. I love being with you. Natalie, so good to have you here. You're so welcome. And lots and lots of love and compassion to you, and deep gratitude for your joining and playing with me in these musings on a daily basis. So lots and lots of love. And until next time, have a wonderful